So the DOJ charges MacGyver, not to be confused with the Arnold Schwarzenegger character, with clashing with ICE officers. MacGyver, Baraka, and Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman and Rob Menendez were at the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark earlier this month to protest its use as a migrant holding facility. The lawmakers argued that they were there to conduct legitimate oversight based on accusations that GEO Group, the private prison company operating the facility, lacked the proper permitting. Okay, so we covered this at the time. So Congress does have the right to show up and do spot checks on facilities. And the mayor who got arrested at this event, claiming he was trespassing, was there. He said they didn't have the proper permits for it. So very shortly after this, they really started to, this is my opinion of it, construct the narrative that these politicians had attacked these well-armed and Kevlar vested ICE agents. There was actually the claim from one of the spokespeople that they body slammed the ICE agents, which right there kind of calls their credibility on this whole thing into question. But we do have some footage that they themselves released to prove how these ICE agents had been viciously attacked by these Congress people. All right, so that's MacGyver in the red jacket. All right, so this is the footage that was released by Department of Homeland Security with that tweet, and subsequently they released body cam footage. Now, if you look, I don't think okay, even if you say it's an edge case, and I don't think so. I think it's very clear she was being pushed from behind and put her arms out because she was going to slam into the officer. There is no way that you could, even if you want to give the footage the most uncharitable interpretation, that you would think it rises to the level of beyond a reasonable doubt, the claim that she was actually trying to physically attack this officer. But here you go.
The guy behind her is kind of pushing her, and she's kind of leading with her hands. She's going to crash into the guy. Yeah.
Right. So now, one of the ways you know you're dealing with bullshit, where the imperative is to get people who are so ideologically committed and aligned with you to reinforce a narrative that isn't true, is when you see something like this and they tell you it shows something that it clearly does not. They know that there is no way that you could look at this and say, "Oh no, look at her attacking them," but their followers will. Their followers will. I mean, we'll see it a little later. We got some of these tweets. It's a little later in the aftermath. You see the lady in the coat here. This was one of the Congress people, Coleman. Yeah, they're saying these people body slammed the ICE officers. So right there, what credibility do the accusers have? In what world did they body slam the ICE officers? Okay. And this is the arrest of the mayor here. which really set all this off. And you can see again, she's in the background there. It's a lot of chaos. And yeah, I mean, the way I read that footage is she got pushed from behind and put her arms out.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to a protest, right? Like, I've been to Occupy Wall Street protests, the anti-war protests, some of the pro-Palestine protests. Although the pro-Palestine protests I've been to, there were no, thankfully, confrontations with the cops. But, at Occupy Wall Street, the cops and the protesters would mix it up all the time. There would very often be, right, you guys got to get to this side of the road. What do you mean? I can't stand here. You can stand here. Push, push, push. It get, there's a scuffle. Like, if you send everyone in that scuffle to jail, the whole protest movement would be in jail. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, there are scuffles with cops during chaotic situations. Right. That's much different from premeditatively assaulting an officer. You can't say that.
She's watching that footage. You can't even claim that there was that assault.
Right.
Because technically, within the parameters of the law, you could charge her for that. That's not what that video shows. Certainly not beyond a reasonable doubt. So why would they pursue these charges? As with so much else that they're doing, it is to intimidate political opposition. It's to intimidate protesters. It's to intimidate writers. It's to intimidate podcasters. Why are they questioning Hassan Piker for speaking? Literally for speaking. So a little more here. So this was the response at the time because Homeland Security made a big deal of releasing that body cam footage like it proved something, which it obviously did not. Quote, threatening to arrest members of Congress for exercising their lawful authority is another example of this administration abusing its power to try to intimidate anyone who stands up to them, said a spokesperson for Watson Coleman. The spokesperson said their office has reviewed the body cam footage and that it proves ICE agents put their hands on members of Congress. It also proves that DHS has been lying about this incident. We're honestly surprised they released this footage, given that it so wholly contradicts their claims. Nobody was body slammed. Nobody assaulted any agents, and this footage confirms that. What I don't understand, because you hear her in that last clip saying she's filing a complaint and that she was assaulted, I think they should file because you can see it in the video that the ICE officers were putting their hands on Congresspeople. So this is the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey proudly announcing her filing of dropping charges against the mayor, but filing charges against MacIver. Today, my office has charged Congresswoman MacIver with violation of Title 18 United States Code for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. So now the assault charge, if they're actually going to go ahead and claim that she hit the officer, that carries up to 8 years in prison. So let's read some of this. I take my obligations as U.S. attorney seriously. I understand the responsibility that comes with my position, and I will work diligently to uphold the law and deliver justice to the people of New Jersey. After extensive consideration, we have agreed to dismiss Mayor Baraka's misdemeanor charge of trespass for the sake of moving forward. In the spirit of public interest, I have invited the mayor to tour Delaney Hall. The government has nothing to hide at this facility, and I will personally accompany the mayor so he can see that firsthand. The citizens of New Jersey deserve unified leadership so we can get to work to keep our state safe. The dismissal against the mayor is not the end of this matter. Congressional oversight is an important constitutional function and one that I fully support. Well, apparently you do not. However, that is not at issue in this case. What is at issue is my continuing to have this job under a notoriously vicious, vengeful president who demands absolute loyalty and submission. That's my editorial insert there. Representative LaMonica MacIver assaulted, impeded, and interfered with law enforcement in violation of Title 18, blah, blah, blah. That conduct cannot be overlooked by the chief federal law enforcement official in the state of New Jersey, and it is my constitutional obligation to ensure that our federal law enforcement is protected when executing their duties. Oh yeah, man. Those guys must have been quaking in their boots. That was a rough bunch of characters there, those Congress people. I have persistently made efforts to address these issues without bringing criminal charges and have given Representative McIver every opportunity to come to a resolution, but she has unfortunately declined. No one is above the law, politicians or otherwise. It is the job of this office to uphold justice impartially, regardless of who you are. Now we will let the justice system work. Okay, so this is a very chilling development. Proud dog murderer Christy Nome weighed in on this. After a thorough review of the video footage of Delaney Hall and a full investigation from Homeland Security Intelligence, the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey has made the determination to charge Congresswoman McIver for assaulting, resisting, and impeding law enforcement officers. No one is above the law except for my boss. If any person, regardless of political party, influence, or status, assaults a law enforcement officer, as we witnessed Congressman McIver do, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We thank our brave ICE law enforcement officers for taking a break from sexually assaulting inmates for their service to this great nation. Bakara weighed in. He's just glad these crazy bastards didn't put him in jail. So he's kind of conciliatory while trying to say something about this. I am glad that the U.S. attorney has agreed that this case should be dismissed. I have had strong relationships with prior U.S. attorneys. Please don't put me in jail. Please don't put me in jail. And I plan to speak with the current U.S. attorney about issues on which we can cooperate. And he goes on, I understand that the U.S. attorney has chosen to charge Congresswoman LaMonica McIver with assaulting law enforcement. Congresswoman McIver is a daughter of Newark, past Newark Council president, a former student of mine, and a dear friend. I want to be clear. I stand with LaMonica, and I fully expect her to be vindicated. Um, so this is the kind of reaction that you're getting from the kind of little Nazi punks that get off on this kind of shit, like Nick Sorter, who really don't care what might happen to people that they like now that they're opening this door. We, for years, warned that what the Democrats were doing with their lawfare against Trump was opening a door that when the Republicans got in power was they were going to regret opening. And yes, here we are. It's the ratchet effect. It just keeps getting worse and worse and escalating to in a way that just further and further erodes civil liberties. So Nick Sorter, U.S. Attorney Alina Habba has officially charged Democrat Representative LaMonica McIver with assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. This carries up to 8 years in federal prison. Lock her up and perp walk. Wow, he's so excited about this. Wait until they are locking you up for misgendering, buddy. It's not going to seem like such a good idea then. Matt Van Swall. No one is above the law. Maybe they should put her in the same prison she was trying to break into. I've been reliably informed by Democrats that the people in ICE detention centers are the best of America. Put her in that prison. Response here. The other members of Congress that were with her need to be charged too. Nick Sorter. Don't get your hopes up. Be thankful we even got one. LOL. So yeah, that's the kind of reaction you're getting from Trump world.
This name of this one is Nazi Punks Fuck Off.
Yeah, man. Look, you got people like Nick Sorter make their money this way, whether they actually believe it, don't believe it. I mean, if you can make your money doing what you love, being a Nazi fascist little punk, you'll never work a day in your life, right? So I would think it's an example of his occupation and his beliefs probably marrying pretty well. But yeah, man, it's and hey, it came from the other side too. You know, you had the Democrats, you know, they have a different style. They'll write very lengthy articles about how free speech has gone too far and it's an antiquated idea. They do it that way. These guys do it this way. They go on, lock them up, put them all in the same prison where they like the prisoners so much. But you know, I mean, it's the same on both sides. They always act when they're in power like they'll never be out of power, like they're not setting dangerous precedents. They're willing to put blinders on to what the realities of the case are. Nobody stepping back and thinking about this for 2 seconds believes this is about that. They honestly think that video shows beyond a reasonable doubt that she attacked ICE officers. So at that point, you have to ask, what is it about? It's about taking lawfare to another level, to a level where you're just going to go after congresspeople, judges, political opponents. This is actually worse than the Wisconsin judge because, by all accounts, she actually did that shit. So at least there's an argument. Well, we're enforcing the law. This is not enforcing the law. This is weaponizing uh, not only the judicial system, but weaponizing the police forces.
They're such small people, the Nick Sorters of the world. Oh, really, the heart of this MAGA influence world, and they are such bootlickers. And this is what's so ironic: they're such pussies. At the end of the day, these people love cops because they think that the state has to keep them safe from the bad people who are trying to hurt them. These are people who will mock you endlessly if you wore a mask anytime over the past 3 years because, oh, what a coward, a pussy you are, you're afraid. Let me tell you something. You know, I'm not a masker. You're much more likely, statistically, to die of a respiratory virus than you are to be beaten up by an illegal immigrant gang member. Much more likely. Much more likely. Right. Yet the heart of this MAGA movement can't seem to leave their house without looking over their shoulder as if some Venezuelan's going to come jack them up. They're so afraid.
Obsessed with the idea that they're in constant
under
danger.
Assault. We're being invaded. They're constantly afraid of the world around them to a far greater extent than any other political cohort. This obsession with finding the bad people and throwing them in jail, that's born of cowardice. That's what that is. That is a small, cowardly person who is obsessed with that all day, every day, to the extent that they clearly are.
Yes. And, you know, I mean, this is a psychological phenomena. I actually, it would be interesting to do more research on this. I'm sure a lot of studies have been done on this. If you tell them, you know, actually statistically, you're not in that kind of danger, actually, this doesn't really happen, you're really messing with their whole sense of reality. Like, they'll get angry at you the way that libs will get angry if you tell them, you know, Hillary Clinton actually made sure that women wouldn't get higher wages. She was terrible for women. Like, they, you know, their heads explode. They get their whole way of understanding reality is undermined by that. They just won't do it. Like, you tell them, no, you know, New York, which is used as this proxy in their media for all of this. No, man. I mean, I'm a little guy. You know, I'm 5'6". I have no problems. Ride the subway all the time. That's bullshit. You know what? What about the lady who got lit on fire? What about that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. They're just afraid of everything. They're afraid of everything.
Well, and they're addicted to their fear.
Right. Exactly. They're addicted to their fear. They showcase their fear. Right. Their fear is what defines them in this way. You know, it's a really pathetic thing. And I see some people in the chat saying you can't touch a cop. No, you can't. You can't put your hands on a cop. There's a difference between that and if you're in an active skirmish where people are getting shoved around. I've seen it. I've seen it. You go to people who talk like this have clearly never been in a situation like this where you go. I saw it at Occupy Wall Street all the time. The cops are shoving people around. People are fucking putting their arms up to stop themselves from being shoved. Sometimes they get pushed into a cop and they knock the cop around. Like, they don't do it on purpose. It's part of a chaotic scene. Those people were not arrested because the cops understand at that moment it's part of a chaotic scene. Now, you're going to get some overzealous cops who every once in a while feel like because they got a chip on their shoulder, you know, they want to fucking book somebody. Yeah, that happens. You get overzealous cops every once in a while, sometimes more often than others, depending on the time and place.
Look at
But I've seen it happen at protests where there's a skirmish, people get knocked around a little bit, and they disperse, and there's nobody leaving in the back of a car. Like, that just is a thing that happens. It's a thing.
Look at
You
this.
can't do it on purpose. Obviously, no one's saying you can consciously go up to a cop and shove him. No, you can't. Obviously, you can't do that. I'm saying, look at this situation. These kinds of chaotic situations happen a lot at politically heated gatherings, and it doesn't involve mass arrests as a consequence. That's what I'm saying.
Look, you could see her get pushed right there.
She's getting pushed, so she puts her arms up. Like, that's not a premeditated assault. It's just not.
Look.
Yeah.
She bounces off him.
Yeah.
And she tries to get around
him. The guy in the suit has her by the ass. So what's she supposed to do? Not put her arms up at all? And you lead with your head?
The guy in the suit is Bob Menendez Jr.
Right. Right. So she's clearly being, look, the guy's got his hands on her from behind, and she's throwing her head. Like, if you don't do that, will you lead with your head?
Yeah.
I
mean, it's pretty obvious. Even if you think, and I don't, but even if you think it could be interpreted that way, certainly not beyond a reasonable doubt. Certainly not at a level that you would take the extraordinary step of prosecuting a congressperson for assaulting an ICE officer. Right. And again, look at the other claims they made, that they body slammed ICE. These people body slammed ICE. These people wouldn't survive a fucking rugby match. Right. You think these people body slammed ICE? That tells you right there they had a pretext in search of some kind of footage to hang it on. And they found a little clip here that they could distort that way to claim that, look, she's beating up on the ICE officer and that's it. Like they made these claims before they even had any footage to hang these claims on. That's why you have an outrageous claim like body slam. They just put that out there hoping they could find something they could justify that with. They never did, so they stopped saying that, but then they used this to justify the whole claim.
Exactly. Hey, thanks for watching our video. We're currently raising money to produce our documentary film on the Uhuru movement. Go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in.
Every dollar you give goes towards the project. We do not take any kind of salary on these. We mostly live on Gatorade when we're on the road, so even solid food is iffy, just enough to get by. But we do not take any pay for this. Every dollar actually goes into what we need to shoot the project. The Uhuru movement is a subject that really deserves more exposure. Everybody heard about it through the court case, and that was an important thing to elevate. But they've done incredible community work demonstrating a different way that is socialist and not dependent on the government at the same time, which a lot of people don't even realize that still exists in the tradition of the Black Panther food and education programs. And to show there is such a strong community like that with such strong leadership is really important, particularly at this historical moment.
Yeah, so we're really excited about doing the project, but we need your help. So go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in. Thanks very much for your support.
Please clap.